And President Uhuru Kenyatta once again led Kenyans in celebrating Jamhuri Day at Nyayo Stadium here in Nairobi, and with me in studio to analyze excerpts of his speech at the Jamhuri Day celebrations is Barrack Muluka, publishing editor as well as a social and political commentator on global affairs, and Kanjama, advocate of the High Court. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on Citizen Weekend. So, Barrack, let me start with you. The president started off with the successes of the nation, and the Uhuru presidency has been surrounded by a lot of criticism, particularly on graft. But the president seemingly starting off his speech with a tone that it is not all gloom as it seems. Your take?
Yes, on an occasion such as this one, I think it's important, especially when you are the head of state, that you begin by underscoring your successes, and you do it the way that he did. He also acknowledged that there have been challenges, failings and failures here and there. And then, of course, I think for me the biggest challenge is that I did not see what you would call a policy framework or context, that all these things should be kind of being discussed within a framework of policy, very clear policy guidelines, very clear goals, and therefore you are able to measure the successes that are being talked about against certain very clear goals.
And Charles, even as the president talked of successes, is Kenya at a better place today? How would you rate the president's performance so far? The war on terror, has that been dealt with? Is the economy where Kenyans want it to be?
Definitely, Lillian, we are not where we want to be. The question is whether we are already on the journey or we are moving backwards. I think on the question of security, the president in his speech referred to the fact that most of this year we did not have a major terrorist attack. He considered that progress, considering the previous 12 months before that. You could say there has been some progress. On the question of the economy, I think he noted that there were certain developments like provision of electricity to more parts of the country. There was a successful Eurobond issue, which is the elephant in the room right now, and so on. So I think he was trying to tell Kenyans that we are going somewhere, the economy is growing, we have faced challenges, but we've not reached where we want to go. So I felt that it was a mixed bag, really, in terms of what Kenyans were hoping that he would have achieved and what he has achieved so far, and his government.
Right, and Barrack, borrowing from what Kanjama here is saying, critics will argue that this is a case of a lot of talk and little done because of the mood in the country. In 2015, the dominant issue once again has been corruption. The approval ratings of the president have dipped because of this. In the tone of his speech, did you get the sense that the president perhaps wants to intensify his strategy in dealing with graft, or perhaps change it altogether?
I didn't see the strategy. I didn't even hear about it, and I have taken time since this afternoon to interact quite closely with the text of the president's speech. As I have said, I think on a day such as this, when you are taking an audit of 52 years of independence, including 2.5 years of your own healthmanship, you need to have some very clear sense of direction, some very clear parameters of context within which you're operating, and you are able to look at various sectoral issues and say this is what we set out to achieve and this is what we have done. For example, if you look at the issue of corruption, and you look particularly at the Eurobond, about which he said, let me reflect about it. We have had this many times. And we of the fourth estate do usually say the president has now declared a no-nonsense approach to the war against corruption. This is notwithstanding the fact that he has also taken the media to task. But you do not see anything substantive arising out of that. We have heard about some monies which are supposed to have been recovered, which is a good thing. But we also want to know who is it that was behind this money, if it has been recovered. There must be some people who are known by face and name behind it, and what's happening to them.
So no answers as yet on that. On the Eurobond, he attacked the media, accusing it of aiding the opposition in spreading baseless allegations. Is the Jubilee administration feeling and fairly treated? Is it justified to feel this way?
No, it's not justified at all for them to feel that way. And see, my president said, let me reflect about the Eurobond. And at that point, I cocked my ears because I expected him to reflect about the Eurobond. I expected my president to say the Eurobond was about such and such. We brought it in within such and such a context. It was such and such amount of money. It went to such and such places. And it has been distributed and channeled out as follows. It has done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. And that the rest of the finer details will come with the various accounting reports, auditors' reports. But to say that it was a good thing that we brought in, then beyond that you're taking to task those who have questioned and telling people to keep quiet. I don't think that he measured up to expectation.
Right, Kanjama, as we wind up this conversation, is seizing corruptly acquired property and money amounting to 2.2 billion shillings, because this is what this is the figure that we were given during the president's speech. Is this representative enough of the money that needs to be recovered, of the amount of money that needs to be recovered?
Lillian, let me say one or two things as I answer your question. The first is that we have this very elaborate act of parliament on proceeds of money laundering and economic crimes, which provides for seizure orders, and it provides a framework in which the government can seize property pending investigations or pending conviction in the case of a criminal trial, or pending determination by a court that actually the seizure is lawful. So that the first action of seizure, the first seizure order, is not a conclusive seizure order. It just means that the property cannot be used as the case is going on in court. So it is a good first step to seize property which is suspected to have been either the proceeds of corruption or to have been proceeds of money laundering, but it doesn't mean that that money has been recovered. Let me also say that in regard to what the president said in regard to accusations, I think it will be very important that we as Kenyans reflect on the balance between queries, legitimate queries, and malicious accusations. And I don't think either side of this debate can insulate themselves from criticism in the way the Eurobond saga has been handled. I think there are some weighty questions that we will need to reflect on going forward as a result of the president's speech and the reaction of the opposition, to ensure that we all support the fight against corruption. We do not criminalize those who raise legitimate queries, but we do not allow to thrive malicious accusations also that are not
Is the president playing into the hands of the opposition by responding to their accusations?
He certainly does, particularly when he doesn't back up his intervention with the substance. Here in the end, what he gave with one hand, he took with the other hand. On the one hand, he was saying that everybody is going to carry their cross, but at the same time, he was also cautioning those who would be whistleblowers that you had better be very, very thorough and very sure, and normally they would not have the skills and even the capacity to substantiate.
Right, gentlemen, Barrack, Muluka and Charles Kanjama just giving their thoughts on the president's speech during the Jamhuri Day celebrations. Citizen Weekend.